Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gold Seal Certification Information webinar. My name is Chanel Roberts. I'm the manager here for the Education and Gold Seal Certification Program. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we begin. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be available on our website, which is a link through our YouTube channel, and it is available as a recording for you to watch anytime you like afterwards. So if you do need to take off for any reason, you can always catch up and watch the recording. And as well, we will be answering questions throughout the webinar, so you can type them into the question box, which is located on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also attend our Q&A at the end of the webinar, and we can unmute you and you can ask your questions through audio. So it's up to you if you'd like to stay for that. But you can you can type in your questions throughout the webinar if you have any, or stay for the Q&A. So once again, for those that have just joined us, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our website within a couple of days. So I will get started and let you know a little bit about what we're going to go through today. So what we're going to review is the Gold Seal certification overall and why you should get certified. We'll look over the designations as well as our competency self-assessment tool. I'll take you through the application process and the requirements that you need. We'll also take a look at the credit self-assessment tool, a little bit about the exam, some resources to summarize everything up, and your upcoming exam dates. So when we talk about Gold Seal certification, it is for management professionals. So it's for those that have attained the highest standards of excellence in the industry, you have proven industry experience and are held in the highest regards. So when you talk about Gold Seal certification, it is Canada's recognized industry standard. And once again, it is for construction management professionals. So when you become Gold Seal certified, you become the best of the best in your role. You attain industry recognition for that. You become part of a network that extends more than 11,000 Gold Seal certified professionals across Canada. And you're seen as a professional that is ready for the most demanding projects because your professional development has followed the Gold Seal curriculum. So that is all encompassed in your Gold Seal certification. I'm going to take you through a couple of Gold Seal success stories, and these are available on our website, but I'd like to highlight a few just to give you an idea of what Gold Seal certification brings to your value as a professional and what life is like after getting your Gold Seal. So we have a couple of our GSCs here. So first, Mike Love at the corner says that getting his Gold Seal certification provided a better path to developing the qualities he needed to be a better leader. Julie on the side here is an estimator, and she says the Gold Seal certification demonstrates to clients and employers your dedication. It functions as a guarantee that I know what I'm doing. And William at the bottom here says that the Gold Seal certification is viewed as a high status, and he's seen companies where they have Gold Seal certified employees and are selected first for jobs because they know the employees have put in their time and have the Gold Seal education on top of what is typically just a trade certification. So take a look, these are just the quotes from the articles themselves, but they are full interviews, and take a look, read through a few of them, read through different designations if you'd like, or just for your specific designation. There are quite a few on our website, and you can read through some of the interviews that have taken place over the years. So a couple of questions you do have to ask yourself before you consider your Gold Seal certification. So in our, I'll take you through that in a few minutes here, but in our credit self-assessment tool, as well as the competency, we actually ask you these questions in each designation tab, and I'll take you through that. But when you look at your Gold Seal certification, are you eligible to apply? So it's really important to make sure that you do answer these questions before applying. So what we look at is your occupation and your role. does it fit within the scope of the Gold Seal certification requirements? What type of company do you work for? So general contracting, trade contracting, mechanical, estimating, electrical, and civil. So we do have components that are required, and these are all outlined in our application guide for you as well. What types of projects are you working on, and are the projects new construction or maintenance? So when we talk about maintenance, that is not actually accepted in terms of a job, in terms of a project type when you look at the Gold Seal certification application. So we do have to consider these questions before applying. So we cover 6 designations in the Gold Seal program. So estimator, foreman, owner's construction manager, project manager, safety practitioner, and superintendent. So those are the 6 designations that we certify. These are the categories in which construction management professionals are classified for the Gold Seal program. And just a little bit of a definition on the owner's construction manager, just because it's a little bit one of the more complicated ones. But basically the OCMs are accountable to the procurement authority, which can include owners, consultants on behalf of owners, general contractors, construction managers, and design builders. And the OCMs are responsible for managing time, cost, quality, and the project's overall performance. So if you are unsure as to whether you would classify as an OCM or a PM, you can always let us know, and we can walk you through that. So I'll take you through our competency self-assessment tool. And this is a new tool that we developed earlier this year, which has helped quite a few people, understand the scope of their designation and of the Gold Seal certification program as a whole. The competency self-assessment tool, what it does is identifies the core competencies, and that's the standard, as well as the skills for each designation. And everyone in each designation should have these competencies and skills regardless of the company field, size, or location. As well, completing the self-assessment tool is mandatory for GSC applicants. So once you get to the GSC component of your application, you will be asked to submit your completed tool. We don't look at it in terms of, we don't mark it or review the answers. It's really just for us to know that you understand the competencies for your designation. And also it's really helpful as a tool to review as preparation for the exam. So the questions on the exam are related to these competencies and skills. It also helps identify training needs. So when you go through the competency self-assessment tool, you're able to identify whether or not you need training or more experience in certain areas. So I'll take you through it right now briefly, and I'll let you know exactly where to find it. So when you are on our website, under the Applicants tab, you'll find Competency Assessment. When you go down, when you go down to the bottom here, you'll be able to find all of the designation categories, and then you can choose the one that you are that is your role. So let's just say we choose project manager. What's going to happen is it's going to download as an Excel file, and it is a working Excel file. And what you're going to see once you open it up are the instructions tab. You do have to enable editing, so just make sure you're doing that, as well as enable content. It takes you through all of the steps, essentially the point of the tool, what you're going to get out of it. It also gives you a summary of the competencies for each designation. So again, right now we're in the project manager designation. Gives you a little bit about how the tool works, the scale, so the rating scale for the questionnaire, and a little bit about the results count and action plan. So when you are on the questionnaire tab, this is where you're going to basically go through this, again, like a questionnaire. It is a little bit lengthy, but give yourself some time to do it. It's really important for you as an individual and one that's applying for Gold Seal to understand that you can relate to these competencies. So the way that it's been formulated is that we're asking you to rate your proficiency in each of these skills or activities. So 1 is none or limited, up to excellent. So for example, we're in the business skills section here. We're talking about communicating clearly and ethically. These are all the skills that you're going to want to answer. So I'll take you through what happens when you answer 1s and 2s. We're going to answer a couple of 3s. You know, give yourself some real, like, think it over. You know, this is for you. This is for your personal development. Be honest. Again, we're not marking these. We're not, you know, judging them at all. It's for you to understand that you can relate to these competencies. I'm going to show you, you know, another section here, tendering, for example. So assess company capacity and capabilities for potential projects. Maybe you're not quite there yet, you're average. But if you're evaluating potential new projects for risk and opportunity, maybe you're excellent at that. So again, really make sure that you're answering honestly. So what happens now is, I'm not going to take you through all of it. It's going to take a while on this webinar, but you get the idea. Make sure to take the time to go through it. Once you go to the next tab under results count, it'll just give you a summary. And then the improvement areas tab is what's important. So here, what you're going to do is you're going to click in the blue cell that says improvement areas. You're going to right click and select refresh. Now you can see, I'm just going to close that. Now you can see all of the sections that you answered 1 or 2. Now, when we talk about 1 or 2, these are the competency areas that we believe that you need to focus your efforts on. So whether it's, taking more courses, or, you know, doing some research, talking to peers, going over projects with people, you know, it depends what that, you know, skill or competency needs in terms of effort and improvement, but it gives you a good summary as to know what you need to focus on. Okay, so once you get into the improvement areas tab, then you can go on to the action plan. You can use this if you want. It's there for you, but you do not have to use it. It's good for people that want to stay organized and on top of, you know, certain competencies that they're working on. So this is what the tool is all about. So just be sure to check that out. You can do it before you apply, you know, before you enroll into the program. You have time to do it as well before you apply as a GSC. So just make sure to check that out on our website. So I'm going to take you through the application process. When you go into the programs itself, you know, the first step is enrolling into the program. So you submit an enrollment application, and that's available on our website. You know, we provide it into the in the applicant section. You're going to submit an enrollment for review. We review that within a week. We always do them weekly, and you're approved as a Gold Seal intern. Now, I'll take you through the requirements for each step in a couple of slides to come, but this is just a summary of how the whole application works. So once you're approved as a Gold Seal intern, you do have up to 5 years to meet the requirements and challenge the Gold Seal exam. So what that means is that each designation has a minimum set of requirements and credits required to get approved to write the exam. Again, I'll take you through those in a couple minutes. There's a couple of situations. So if you don't have all the experience or the education needed, you work towards getting those requirements over the 5-year period. However, if you're approved as an intern and you think you have everything, you can apply as a GSC right away. And we do provide you the link to that form. When you apply as a Gold Seal certified, so GSC, this is the application that will take you to the Gold Seal exam if you're approved. This is where you need all the requirements. You would submit the application, it would go through review. A couple steps can happen here. When we review, you either meet the requirements or you don't. If you do not meet the requirements, you still remain as a GSI, as an intern, so that's still your status. And then you have the 5 years to meet those requirements. If you do meet all the requirements, we approve you to select an exam date. So these are all statement emails that we send to you. We provide all the information you need, all the links that you need as well, and you're able to select an exam date. then you would challenge the exam. If you pass the exam, you become Gold Seal certified. You get your designation, or your certification, I should say. And as well, I will go over this in a few minutes, but becoming GSC is actually a prerequisite for P.GSC, which is our professional Gold Seal certified. And that's the highest form of certification you can get in the program. In the event that you do not pass the exam and you fail, you can rewrite the exam for $125 plus tax. And common question is, do you have a limited number of times you can rewrite the exam? The answer is no. You can rewrite the exam as many times as you like. Usually people are successful after a second or third try. Some have to go, for a few more tries, but it's up to you, and it's your personal journey if you would like to rewrite the exam, but that option is there for you. Another option here that happens is that when reviewing your Gold Seal certified application, an applicant can be really close to meeting the requirements, and that means they're maybe under 5 credits, 3 to 5 credits short, let's say. If you're very close to meeting the requirements, we conditionally approve you to select an exam date, and we ask that you send in the missing requirements the week before the exam. So the Sunday, I should say, before the exam. So it's the week of. We give you that time because sometimes, it requires a certain course that may not be available on a certain date. We've had situations where people have been signed up, conditionally approved to the exam because the ethics course was only available a couple of weeks before the exam. We know that that's a reality, and we give you that option to get conditionally approved and submit your missing documentation. If you don't submit the documentation the week before the exam, though, we do take you off the exam list and we let you know, and then you can choose the next exam, the next available exam. So again, a same process here. Then afterwards, if you've submitted everything to us, we let you know that there are no longer conditions on your approval. You're able to write the exam, you challenge the exam, you either pass or you fail, and the cycle continues from there. So a little bit about the enrollment requirements. So when we're talking about Gold Seal interns, again, Gold Seal interns have up to 5 years to complete their internship. First, with the Gold Seal enrollment, all you're required is project experience and a letter of reference. And in that project experience, as an intern, we're only looking for 1 year of Canadian experience. That's the minimum. And it, again, has to be in the designation you're applying for. If you don't have 1 year of full Canadian industry experience, so let's say you're applying as a superintendent, let's say you don't have 1 full year as a superintendent quite yet, but you have 2 years as a foreman, or you have 2 years as a superintendent assistant. You can submit that 2 years in an assistant role, and it will provide you that minimum requirement to enroll into the program. The way that we calculate the experience is by 10 credits per year. And then the last item for the enrollment is a letter of reference, and it must be from your current employer. It also must be from your direct supervisor. So just please ensure that you're an HR person is not signing it. It has to come from your direct supervisor. As well, one thing to note, you do have to be employed in order to enroll into the program. Okay, that is outlined in our application. And the current year does not count for experience until the end of the year. So only 1 full year is counted towards this project experience. So just keep that in mind when you're applying. Let's say you were applying tomorrow, you can't count 2021. You'd have to wait until the end of December to do that. Once you're ready to apply as a Gold Seal certified, so your GSC requirement, this is a separate application. And what I was referring to earlier in terms of a minimum number of credits, this is what this means. So for all designations except foreman, they require 100 Gold Seal credits. I'll bring you through how we calculate the credits as well. So first, project experience. Here, if you're applying right away, as soon as you've been approved as an intern and you're applying as a GSC right away, you don't need a new letter of reference because you've simply just submitted it in your enrollment. However, if it's been more than 1 year since your intern approval, so since you've become a GSI, or if you've changed employers, you do require a new letter of reference. What you're needing here, though, for a GSC is a minimum of 5 years of experience. If you are a foreman and you're applying, we need a minimum of 3 years as a foreman. So when we're talking about the 5 years of experience, we are counting 10 credits per year. That would give you 50 credits. So you need a minimum of 50 credits in project experience. So that's literally half the credits required right there. When we look at the other category, which is education and training, we are asking you for a minimum of 25 credits in education and training, and that includes the mandatory and safety training. With the remaining 25 credits, it can be applicable to either experience or education. So what that means is, let me just go back quickly for project experience. Let's say you have over 5 years experience. Let's say you have 15 years of experience as a project manager. What we do here is we cap you at 75 credits, which means 7.5 years. And the reason for that, again, is because we need a minimum 25 credits from education and training. So what you would have here is additional credits in your experience section, and then all you would need is 25 credits in your education and training section, and that would give you your 100 credits. One thing I do want to mention here, actually, before we continue, is just a quick note. So for project managers, superintendents, and estimators, you do have to be directly employed by a construction company working in either general contracting, trade, electrical, mechanical, or civil contracting. As well, consultants are not accepted for those designations. The only exception is for owner's construction manager designation. Okay, so let's say you have your project experience, your education training, everything's covered. Then we talk about mandatory and safety training, which is included. So I'll bring you through that in just a second. Before we move on to that, I just want to quickly mention the Professional Gold Seal Certified. Again, take a look at this after you've achieved your GSC, but you can, as a GSC, immediately apply for your P.GSC. Now, the only difference with this designation is that it is renewable every 2 years. So within that renewal, we look for making sure that you've worked 2,000 hours minimum in the designation in which you were certified. And we look for certain category, certain requirements in the education section. So what we're looking for here is, construction-related courses, additional construction-related courses that you've taken since achieving your GSC, community contribution. It could be teaching. You could be participating as a volunteer, for the construction industry, whether it's with Gold Seal or another section of our construction industry or association. There's lots of components. And again, all of these details are on our website. And for if you have just achieved your GSC, and you're applying as a P.GSC, you can incorporate your last 2 years of experience and education that you were putting into your application. So we're not asking for additional beyond that GSC application if you've just achieved. When we talk about mandatory training for the education part of and the training part of the GSC application, mandatory training has a couple of components. You have, for all applicants, we require everybody to have the Construction Industry Ethics course, and this is a Canadian Construction Association led course with Build Force Canada. So you must take this specific one. It's specific to Gold Seal program. It's worth 3 credits, and there's a new option now, which I'll take you through in a couple minutes, but there's a virtual component or an e-learning component. So what you have to do is check with your local construction association. If your company does not belong to an association or is not a member of an association, that is definitely okay. You can go on our website and look up all our partner associations. Start with your area, but you are free to, contact any of our associations to sign up for this ethics course. So no substitutions are accepted. Just keep that in mind when you are when you're looking over the mandatory education. What you see here in terms of a chart is designation-specific courses. So what that means is that for each designation, we look for these types of topics, except for foreman, they are specific to these course titles. So Construction 101 and Leadership for Safety Excellence, those are specific to foreman. But besides that, you see that, under estimator, measurement of construction work, or under project manager, law and contracts in the construction industry. These are topics that we suggest to take for your designation specific mandatory training. And all we're looking for here is 2 credits. 2 credits means it's going to be a minimum of 12 hours of training. Now, you can take 2 different courses at 6 hours each at least, or you could take one course that is maybe over a 12 hours period in length. So it's up to you, depending on which course you sign up for, but just keep that in mind for your mandatory designation training. And for the new ethics course, so what I was mentioning in terms of the virtual or e-learning component, what we have done is consolidated the course. Previously, it was in two parts. You had to take an in-class version and an online version. But now it's all consolidated into one course, and it's been available since May. So new applicants do have to take this revised course. If anybody on this webinar is somebody that has, taken our previous version, so let's say you've taken the previous online and in-class courses, you will be given the same number of credits, so we will honor that. But if you're missing one or the other in terms of the components, you do have to take the new course. And again, this course is worth 3 Gold Seal credits in total. I'm going to walk you through a couple of the reciprocity, so our equivalencies that we accept in the program. So for all designations, if you have your MCIOB, which is from the Chartered Institute of Builders, you will be approved to write the exam as long as you're providing us with 5 years of experience and the mandatory ethics course. As a safety practitioner or safety coordinator, if you have your NCSO, you will be approved to write the exam, again, with 5 years experience and the mandatory ethics course. When we're referring to estimators, there's a couple of different situations here. So through the Canadian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, the CIQS, if you have your PQS designation, you are actually automatically approved for certification upon application. So you do have to put through an application and pay for the fee. It is a separate form, and what we do is we approve you and send you your certificate right away. So there's no need to write the exam for PQS. This is the equivalency as agreed upon in a contract with CIQS and Gold Seal. If you have your CEC, which is your Construction Estimator Certified credential, you do have to provide us 5 years of experience, but you're approved to write the exam. So this is the only difference between the two for the estimators. This one does require you to write the exam. In terms of optional safety training, just a couple of notes here that there's, of course, no limit for safety practitioners, but there's a limit, for estimators, foremen, OCMs, and PMs. You have a 5 credit limit. And for superintendents, it's a 10 credit limit. And what that means in terms of hours is, again, every 6 hours of learning is 1 credit. As well, if you're wondering what types of safety training, there's a lot of options out there, of course, but for example, your first aid, WMIS, working in heights, all that counts. If you are missing some courses, or you want to take some more training to get to your requirements for the application, we do also have accredited courses. They're Gold Seal accredited courses. And what that means is it's part of the accreditation program for construction management education. So right now, to date, there's over 1,000 Gold Seal accredited courses through universities, training, individual training, seminars, workshops, and they're all across the country and online. But of course, the Gold Seal program is not limiting you to accredited courses. We do consider all construction management education as long as it meets within our curriculum standard. So, but just to let you know that those options are there. They are available on our website. I'll take you through that at the end with the resources slide, and I'll show you where to find that. When we're talking about the application itself, for training and courses, a couple important things to note: that you do have to include the title of each training and course or workshop, seminar, and it has to be within the last 10 years. So your training and courses are only accepted within the last 10 years. And again, the reason for that is because we need to keep our Gold Seal certified professionals on the most current training and most up-to-date training. We also ask you to include the duration of each one. So before you apply, please do your homework, get your documents prepared, make sure you know how many hours each course is before applying. We also ask you for a record of attendance or a certificate of completion, whichever is provided to you, and it has to be attached into the application for each course. For the project experience section of the application, this just gives you a quick snapshot of what it looks like, what the form looks like. We do ask you for your current project, and again, that's to prove that you are currently working. And so we ask you for your current role, a little bit of a project description, doesn't have to be long. As you can see, the example is simply building renovation. We ask you for specific duties, and we also ask you for the employer's company name and who the project was for. One thing to note here is that if you do have residential experience, just keep in mind that Part 9 of the National Building Code, which is residential experience, does not count. However, Part 3 of the National Building Code is accepted in the program because we accept residential buildings and structures that are over 3 stories high. So if you are submitting some residential experience, just make sure that it does fall within Part 3 of National Building Code and not Part 9. So I'm going to take you through the credit self-assessment tool. Now, this is really a good tool for a couple of reasons. So it's for those that want to understand, how the program GSC applications are reviewed, and for those that are already enrolled into the program, it's to help you keep track of your credits and to estimate how many credits you have before you're able to challenge the exam. So I'll open this up and show you what that looks like. When we go to the website, it is available on our website in a couple of sections. This is our main Gold Seal page, okay? And if you scroll down, it's really right at the beginning. So you have your competency tool and you have your credit self-assessment tool. So this is where you can grab these tools. As well, just while we're here, this before submitting your program enrollment section is really important. This is where you're going to start. So you're already attending the monthly webinar, take a look at our application guide, how to apply page, and the Gold Seal exam page. If you're wondering how to get started, that's where you can start. Now, when you open the credit self-assessment tool, it downloads once again, just like the competency self-assessment tool, as an Excel spreadsheet. And when we open it up, there's a couple of different tabs. You have to choose your designation to make sure that you're on the correct tab. But as you can see, we provide you with instructions, so make sure that you take a look through all of this. But if we were to choose a specific designation, so let's go with estimator as an example. Again, at the beginning, if you recall, I mentioned about eligibility. So these eligibility questions are actually on all of the tabs. Okay, so they are there for you, so you don't have to go back to the webinar to figure out what those questions are. They're right there for you as a reminder. And the way that it works is a yes/no process, essentially. So do you currently work as a construction estimator? No, then you're not eligible, but yes, you can continue, and so on. Then it'll ask you about equivalencies. So again, as we just reviewed the equivalencies, if you have one, then you're going to want to take a look at the equivalencies section and choose the equivalency application form to fill out. Let's say you don't have an equivalency, you move on to estimate your credits. We provide you with the summary of what that all means, some information a little bit to remind you of what you're looking for. But if you continue on here, we're talking about the project experience section. So we ask you, how many years of experience do you have as an estimator? You know, it takes you through the sections, whether or not you're eligible, and you can move on to the bottom section. So we're at row 61, 62. This is where you would type in your your project experience years. So let's say you have, I don't know, 6 years of experience. You would type in 6, and it will calculate for you on the right-hand side here. Okay, so 60 is your estimated experience credits. Once again, we do provide you information about how 7.5 years is the max. It gives you the maximum number of credits and experience, which is 75, but let's just keep it at 6 for this example. Then you move on to the construction-related education. So this is what we call formal education. You don't have to have formal education, but if you do, there are sections in which we provide you the number of credits. So for example, when we're looking at tradesperson qualification, that could be your Red Seal Journeyman certificate, that gives you 10 credits. Or if you have an industry-related technician, diploma or degree, or perhaps an industry-related university degree, or maybe you even have the construction management degree program from George Brown College. This gives you the number of credits that are associated with your formal education. So again, you do have to do a little bit of homework, prepare yourself, make sure you have everything in hand before applying. And this, again, this tool will give you all of the opportunity to prepare yourself. So let's say for example purposes, let's say you have an industry-related technician diploma. That would equal to 20 credits. The instruction here is write the number of education credits in the yellow box. So we're going to put in 20. And on the right-hand side here, you see it calculates automatically. So we're right now at 80 credits out of 100. Then we bring you to the mandatory training section. So again, all of what I mentioned to you in the previous slides is all summarized here. So you need your ethics course and your designation specific training. So let's say you have your ethics course, you would put in 3 in the yellow box because you have 3 credits. Then in your designation specific training, once again, it's a max of 2 credits. That's all you need. So let's say that's one course of 12 hours, or it's 2 courses of a minimum of 6 hours. You will be able to enter your number 2 in terms of credits in this yellow box. Then you'll see at the bottom here that you do have 5 as your estimated number of mandatory training credits. We get into safety-related training here as well. Now, we have a safety course worksheet if you needed to calculate it separately. But just to go back here, what we're looking for is the number of training hours. So this is the only difference between the rest of them. The others ask for credits, but this section asks for hours. And the reason for that is we calculate that for you because there's a rounding system there. So let's say you have, I don't know, 45 hours of training in safety. It's going to round to the number 7. Okay, so it's going to give you 7 estimated credits. The estimators have 5 credits worth of training as a max. So even if you put in 45 hours, we won't give you 7 credits. It's only going to be a maximum of 5 credits. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The idea is to make sure that you're only putting in 30 hours, which gives you 5 credits. Then when we're getting into the additional construction-related training, this is the last part. So let's say you have a lot more training to record on top of your technician degree. This is where you're wanting to grab all of your courses that you've ever taken in the last 10 years that are construction related, and you're going to put in the number of credits in the yellow box. So you do have to do a little bit of math here. Again, we provide you with the calculation. So 1 credit is given for every 6 hours of learning. And you're going to put in the number of credits here. So let's say you have 10 more credits of training. That'll give you 100. Let's say you only have 5 credits of training. So now you see that your estimated total count is 95. So you need 5 more credits in a section. But this credit tool will give you that opportunity to prepare yourself before you apply or before you enroll, before you get to your GSC application. It gives you a tracking, it's like a tracking tool. So that's a little bit about how the credit self-assessment tool works. At the end as well, we also give you an additional training worksheet. So this is where you can keep track of your training if you need help in calculation. Okay. If you need any help at all for that tool, please let us know. It is fairly simple to use, but if you have any questions, we're definitely here to help you. So enrollment checklist, you're needing a letter of reference from your current employer. Again, it has to be signed by your direct supervisor. We're looking for at least 1 year of industry experience in Canada in your designation or 2 years in an assistant position. The form will ask you to accept the subscription to Gold Seal updates. That's the way you get your notifications of your approvals and your Gold Seal exam results and information. And then you're going to submit payment. We either accept PayPal or credit cards. Once you get to your GSC application part of your journey, this is your checklist here. So again, letter of reference is only required if it's been over a year since you've been approved for enrollment, or if you've changed employers. You're looking at your 5 years of minimum years of experience in your employment history. Again, your training and education, and it'll ask you to subscribe and proceed with payment. So in terms of the application framework, I just want to give you an idea of how this all works and the prices involved. So all applicants enroll into the Gold Seal program for $425 plus tax and are approved as interns, and again, giving you up to 5 years to meet the requirements for the GSC and to challenge the exam. There is a separate form, as I mentioned, for applicants with equivalencies, and that is available on our website as well. So once an applicant meets the GSC requirements, they can apply for their GSC, and it's $100 plus tax. In your enrollment approval email, we do provide you the link to the GSC application so that it is available to you and only you on your statement email. If for any reason, let's say you've acquired an equivalency during your internship, that's fine too. There's also a simplified form for applicants who have acquired an equivalency since their enrollment. So we do provide you a couple of options there. Then approved GSC applicants are invited to book an exam, and the exam fee is separate. It's $125 plus tax. So now in total, the total fee for your application is $650. Just to keep in mind that other fees include a re-review fee. That's only if the GSC application requires another complete review. It doesn't happen often, but then you have your $125 exam rewrite fee as well if you happen to fail the exam. All of this is on our website as well under the applicants section, so it is summarized there for you. So your application journey starts here. So I did show you earlier the main Gold Seal website page. This is the applicants page and how to apply. So again, all of this is summarized. It is a little bit of a strange type of website. You do have to scroll down to see more, so just make sure to do that. We provide you with all of the costs and the requirements and everything summarized for you along with the links to the forms. It's all here on our website, so please do take a moment to read through everything. A little bit about the Gold Seal exam. So the Gold Seal exam, as of 2022, is actually going to be offered 5 times. So we used to offer it 4 times a year. We've added a new exam date to accommodate your schedules. So we offer it in January, April, June, September, and November. One thing to keep in mind is the exam is experience-based. So that's why we offer the competency self-assessment tool for your designation. But it's why we say that there is no guide. We get that question a lot. Is there a guide, to review for the exam? There isn't, because it's experience-based. But when you take a look at your competency self-assessment tool, remember that those competencies and skills are reflected on the exam, okay? We also have sample questions available on the exam page. When we have spoken to a couple of previous GSCs, they've actually mentioned to me that they took all the sample questions, regardless of their designation. It actually gives them an idea of how the questions are formulated and asked. So you can do that, or you can do just your designation. Now, it's not a sample exam, just keep that in mind. So it's only a sample of the types of questions, and that's 20 questions per designation. Everybody writes the exam online, and it could be from your home or office. There are between 150 and 180 questions depending on the exam, and the length varies from 3 to 3.5 hours. So for example, an estimator exam is 3 hours and 150 questions, whereas a PM exam is 180 questions and 3.5 hours. The exam is all multiple choice, and we do go through, before each exam, there's an exam prep webinar, and we actually go through the types of questions that are asked there as well. So there's radio buttons, and there's select all that apply, or there's select the best two. There's different scenarios as well, but they're all multiple choice. You do need a passing mark of 75% in order to get your GSC. Just quickly, contact information. It's super important to let us know if your information has changed during your application process. So sometimes that, of course, happens. You may move, or you may have different phone number, whatnot. Just make sure to let us know through our contact information form, which is on the website. We do need a valid email address, of course, and a home address for certificate shipments. Just a note for email addresses. What we recommend is using a personal email address as a primary one, just because over time, you may change employers, and if you only give us your employer email address and you've since changed employers, we can't contact you. So just keep that in mind when you're putting in your email address. All right, and finally, some resources. So the application guide, again, on our website, but just to walk you through a little bit, it gives you everything you need to know. Okay, so we go through what the certification is, some general rules. We bring you through the application process, definitions. What does type of company mean? What does type of construction mean? What does type of project mean? So review all of the application guide really is to your benefit. If you have questions after reading through the guide, you can definitely let us know. The training and accredited courses that I had mentioned earlier are here under the course providers section. And this, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, you can type in, if you know of a course name, you can type it in. If you know the institution that provides the course, you can look them up, or you can search by province. But all of the courses that are accredited for Gold Seal are here. And what that means is if you do take one of these accredited courses, you're automatically given those credits for your application, so that it's not questioned and it's not recalculated. I've shown you the how to apply page and the tools, and as well the Gold Seal exam page is an important one once you get to that step. This is where I've mentioned that the sample questions are located. We give you also summary of all the information you need about exams. It may seem like a lot of information, but once you know where to go for each page, it does help you out a lot. So here are the sample questions that you can click on. So if you clicked on one of your designations, it gives you an idea of how the sample questions appear. These are samples. They're not the exact questions on the exam, but they give you an idea of how they're worded and formatted. Okay, and just before we get into some questions and answers, upcoming exam dates, as you just saw, I took you through quickly the Gold Seal exam page, but they are all listed on the Gold Seal exam page. We have January 21st, April 22nd, June 24th, September 23rd, and November 25th for your 2022 dates. We also give you your deadlines to enroll, the deadlines to apply as a GSC, and the last date to choose an exam. So if you'd like to stick around for question and answers, you're more than welcome to do so. If you've been asking your questions throughout the webinar in the question box, great. But if you do have a question, please use the raised hand tool and I will find you and unmute you, and then you'll be able to ask your question through your audio. So we'll just take a look to see here who is asking a question. And if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off. And once again, we have this recorded. Okay, so I have one question here. So Rain, let me just unmute you. Go ahead, Rain.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, I just have a question there. In your presentation, you mentioned that industry-related, I guess, educations. I just wonder, does that apply for kind of engineering degrees and whatnot?
So it depends what you mean by engineering degrees. So we have civil engineering degrees and diplomas, which we count, but if it's for, if it's an engineering degree, then that does not count towards your formal education. It has to count towards the type of construction that you're working in.
Okay,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and we have, sorry, is that everything, Rain? You're good?
Question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned at the start that there was a difference between an OCM and a PM. There,
Yes.
Could you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so the OCM, so basically you could be a project manager working for an owner. And if you're working for an owner, then you would be qualified under the owner's designation, the owner's construction manager designation. Whereas if you're a project manager working for a general contracting or a trade contracting, electrical, mechanical contracting company, that would qualify you under the project management designation. So you just have to define who you're working for.
Understood, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, let me just see here. So, oh, my buttons are changing on me. Sorry, 1 second here. So Jamie, I think I will. There we go. So I've sent you an unmute request, Jamie. You can go ahead once you're ready.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
A couple of questions. I'm interested in the safety practitioner, but I currently work for a mining company. And after watching the presentation, it really makes me question as to whether I would qualify to be able to write the exam.
Yeah, so a mining company, so you have to, again, for all designations, except for owner's construction, you do have to be working for one of those contracting companies that I meant. So either general, trade, mechanical, electrical, or civil. So mining is not something that is qualified, unfortunately.
No, we just have those people that work for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, and
Okay,
you know
well,
what, we can always, if you want, we can go over, offline. You can always give us a call and we can go over kind of the duties and the types of work, because it's a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit complicated, but we can definitely, before saying no for sure, we can talk that over if you'd like.
Well, yeah, because where I am and what we do is we deal with all the trades, but I'm not like, I'm technically at a mill, but we're considered mining. So
okay,
that's why it's
yeah,
kind of a Yeah, it's a tougher gray area.
Yeah, let's chat about that actually. You can give us a call whenever, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jamie. Okay, Rob Scott, go ahead. Rob?
Apologies, sorry, I on mute there.
That's okay.
If you have the qualifications for your P.GSC at the time of your GSC exam, can you get that designation right away, or do you still have to wait an additional 2 years?
No, you can get it right away. So once you get your GSC, you can apply the next day if you wanted to.
Great, thank you, that's all I have.
No problem. Okay, and let me just unmute here. Corey, you can go ahead, Corey Schwab.
Just a question about, I think you were mentioning for electrical consultant that does not, your hours do not count towards OCM. That's just for a PM, correct?
No, you could be, and so the problem with that is that, again, you have to determine who you're working for specifically. So OCM is a little bit of one of the trickier ones. So we can always chat about this offline, but if you are, it's not just for project managers, but if you are working for an owner, you know, you can qualify under that designation. But if you are an estimating consultant, the consultant, let's say you're working for yourself, or, you know, it does not qualify, unfortunately. So there are a couple of speculations there and a couple of different requirements, and that's why it deserves a little bit more of a conversation. But it's not just for PMs, so we can talk about that if you'd like.
Okay, and then also in regards to contract and min, how do you split hairs between contract administrator and project manager?
So if I understand your question correctly, are those two different roles? Is that what you're saying?
Are they? Yeah, are they? To me, they're one and the same.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Just title.
Okay, so when we talk about, and this is in our application guide as well, we can you can always take a look there for more detail. But what that means is we're looking at the roles as defined within the competency self-assessment. So the competencies have to align with the project manager duties. Some companies just, again, like you said, it's a title, it's a different, you know, it's semantics. However, you do have to have your job duties aligning with those competencies. So as long as they do, we can take a look at that. But usually we accept, you know, it's more the project managers and project coordinators that we accept.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Okay, Julie Guest.
Hi, yes, so you need at least minimum 2 years in a supporting role in order to apply for the internship, but 5 years in order to challenge the exam, correct?
Correct, yes.
So does that mean once you apply and you have the internship, you would have to wait 3 years in order to actually challenge the exam?
That's right. So let's say you're, what's your role? Project manager?
I'm currently a PC.
PC, okay. So this is where you have to determine where you're going, you know, in your career as well. You know, you can always talk with your employer before you apply as well. But if you think you're going to be promoted to a project manager down the line, you can, you know, enroll into the program and you have your 2 years of PC under your belt, and then you would have to have 3 full years as a project manager to add to your qualifications for project experience under your 50 credits, and that way you would be approved to write the exam as long as you have all the other.
So the 3 years would have to be as a project manager in the current role. It can't be in the assisting role.
No, we only accept up to 2 years in the assistant role.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, Needy, I think you have a question as well. Just have to unmute, I believe. Go ahead, Needy.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. So I have the same question as the Julie regarding the
Mhm.
experience. So I was wondering, like, how do you count the 7.5 years, let's say. So I'm talking about my personal case is 3.5 years. So how do you calculate that half an hour credit? Like, let's say I have started somewhere in April, and will that full year, like 8 months, count over 1 year, or I have to wait till April to count as a full year?
Correct. You have to wait until April to count the full year. So you need a
Correct.
full 12 months. Yeah, the
Correct.
8 months won't count. Yeah.
Correct. And so I can write down 3.5 right now.
Well, 3.5 is not going to get you approved because this is, if you have 3.5, that's fine for your enrollment to be approved as an
Correct.
intern.
Correct.
But yes, you would need a full 5 years, or, the 7.5 years is more for the understanding that we're giving you the maximum number of credits, which is 75 credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And next question is regarding the education. So I know
Sure.
it's not mandatory, but to have my total 100, I would like to ask that is there any foreign education is recognized here or not? Because I'm internationally educated. I have done my engineering in construction management degree.
Yep.
So I was wondering if it is eligible for credit or not.
Yes, so it is eligible as long as, though in our application guide, we actually give you a link. It is eligible through the Canadian, what is it called? The association that qualifies foreign education. So it's like an equivalency. Yes.
Yes,
So as
I
long
have
as you
that
go through.
certificate as well.
Oh,
Yep.
well then if you do, yeah, that's perfectly fine, and you can submit that, and it's recognized. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Good. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Nicholas, you have a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so curious, 2 questions. I'm wondering, a lot of the, I guess, safety courses I've taken in the past, if it's going back 10 years, that's quite a while. Some of those, and I don't know exactly which ones are I guess allowed, but if some of them have expired, some of these courses have a 5-year expiry date, can we still count those or not?
So courses that have expiration dates, I don't know. What do you mean exactly?
I guess fall arrest, those sorts of courses, are those things that are recognized or?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, as long as it's within the 10-year, time frame, you're okay for that.
Okay. And then I took the construction engineering technology program at NATE, and you're saying that that's worth 25 points or something along those lines. It's a technologist program?
Yeah, the technologist, yeah, that's 25 credits, yeah.
If I don't know exactly what it was called. I'm trying to look at the Alberta Construction Safety Association website. But through the program, we actually got a separate accreditation. And I don't think it was an NCSO. It might have been HSA. Can we count those as a separate credits or separate points, I guess?
Not under formal education. So it's either or. So you only have one, we only count one type of formal education, not both. So if that HSC, what you could do is you could count courses that were taken within that certification, but we could always go over that with you and see exactly what you mean, and you could possibly extract some courses from there for extra credits.
Okay.
But you can't count it as an additional certification, no.
Sure. And then I think you said for the, pardon me, what was the one for 3 points here? I taken some notes, excuse me.
The ethics, no, that's okay. The ethics course?
Yeah, so would I take that through Alberta, the Edmonton Construction Association? They would be the ones?
Yeah, exactly. So
of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they offer it at different times, or you can always, again, if you wanted to do it online through the BuildForce Canada, they give you a PIN for that and you can do it at any time.
Oh, okay. And is there a fee to that? Do you know?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on the association, but they can provide you with their fees.
Sure. Okay, sounds good.
All right, good.
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, take care. Okay, Brett Williams, if you just want to unmute, you can go ahead. Brett, are you there? Okay, I'll just come back to you, Brett. Go on to somebody else, and then we'll come back to you. So, owner, you have a question?
Sorry, my question got answered.
Oh, okay, perfect. Heather, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering about the credits for education. For the 10 years, what date is that 10 years being counted from? Because I'm going to be pretty close.
So from the day that you're applying. So,
so is that for when I apply for GSI or is it for the GSC?
GSC.
Okay. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Brett, did you want to ask your question if you were there? Okay. I'll go back to Rain. You had another question, Rain?
Yeah, I do. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Just back on when you were touching base on the OCM and PM experience there, I just have a question. What if your experience is a mix throughout the duration? Like, what if you worked previously for a consultant and now you are working for the owner? When you fill in the experience or the competency assessment tool, does a previous experience count?
So the previous experience as a consultant?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are applying as an owner's construction manager, yes, we can take a look at that because consultants is the only, owner's construction manager designation is the only exception for consultants. And there's no limit to your experience. So, whether it was a long time ago or not, you could still count that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, just going back to owner, if you have a question, you're self-muted, so you'll just have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, if you're borderline with your points to your 100, say you're a year short, is it worth just waiting to apply for the Gold Seal, the GSC rather than the GSI enrollment? What is your thoughts on that? Is it like if you're very close, should you just wait or just apply, just enroll regardless?
Yeah, no, you do need to enroll regardless. So that is the first step regardless for everybody. So best to enroll because the other advantage to that is that you are recognized as a GSI. So, to clients and employers and whoever you're working with, they will see that you're working towards your Gold Seal certification and you have that GSI for longer. And then once you get your extra year, then you'll be able to apply as your GSC. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that's everything for questions, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go back to you, Rain, one more time. Do you have another question or was that answered?
Sorry, no, I don't have any further questions.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Like I said, you can definitely get in touch with us whenever you need to. Once again, read through everything on the website first, then you can let us know. goldseal@cca-acc.com is the best place to start. You can also give us a call, but I hope that we see your applications in the near future and have a great day. I'll let you all go and have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.